Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Backstory Podcast today. I'm excited to have my first returning guest. We've been doing this for a little while now, and there's some people that we just very much fit into our family, the way we do business, the way we talk, and things that I can bring to you guys to kind of share with you different approaches and different aspects, and some wonderful teachers that we know throughout the planet. Today, I get to share with you one of my favorites. This is Andie Santo Pietro. I, I even practiced his name before I came live, so it's kind of hilarious that I would step on it like that. But anyway, Andie, welcome to the Backstory Podcast.
There was no better way for you to open, Steve.
San, Santo Santo Pietro. I had it perfect, and then I butchered it. Anyway, welcome to the show again. Glad you're here. We've been we've been keeping touch and talking back and forth, and Andie has been with us for a very long time. I've met him in several of our seminars that we've done over many years, and he's an incredible teacher. Has done some incredible work, written books that I have actually been a little part of too. I got to write a foreword in one of his books, so we'll let him talk about that as we go forward. It's Andie. Welcome to the show, and
Thank you.
absolutely
Thank you.
tell
Very
tell us what you've been doing. I mean, last time we talked, you were just releasing this book. You've got so many
Yes.
other projects in the works now.
Well, I'm on a mission to basically help humanity stabilize during this time of transition on the planet. I think we are we crossed the Rubicon, and we're here now. And I think it's a whole nother division or level, I should say, of my work. And I'm seeing just, as bad as things are, I'd like to open with this actually, because it would be naive of me not to or to even address the fact that the world is in a state of in
Craziness.
to craziness. And one of the most important things, and it took me a little while to get to this truth for myself. Again, it's my truth, but the more things are spinning out of control, the more a closer we are to actually moving into this new 5D world that we're creating. And it's sort of a juxtaposition, because what it does is it hooks and it pulls at your heartstrings and your basic common sense of good and bad and right and wrong. But when we go into those polarities, we're back in 3D, because 3D is a dimension, 3D and 4D. 3D is a dimension of duality, 4D is a dimension of polarity. So we are still working out those aspects of close to 30,000 years of training of us being indoctrinated with a matrix that is based on either duality or polarity. So when we see what's happening, it is happening. This is not an illusion.
Right.
It's happening. It's happening in one dimension.
Right.
What's superimposed over this is this incredible force of light that has come into the planet, and there hasn't been this much light and love on the planet, on Earth, ever. And remember, light and love pulls up everything unlike itself. I think we were led to believe that if we apply love and light to things, they get on the surface better. But what light and love does on a frequency level, it acts as a poultice. It goes on everything. And it goes, hey, you haven't come into the mix yet of that kind of piece of coherence. So we're going to pull you to the surface. So that's a safe place where you can transmute out the quickest. So the worse it gets in the third dimension, it's only a signal that there is more and more light and love on the world, that we're able to stabilize enough to allow this level of tumult to come up and bring it to the surface to transmute.
All right. I couldn't have said that any better. That's a beautiful way to look at it. And I agree with you. The group has given us some very similar views in different ways, and talking about it. And they keep talking about the mud puddles. The secret to walking through a mud puddle is to keep walking. Don't stop. We are going through. They've given the analogy of the Shiva and the Shakti. The Shiva had to come in and destroy everything before before the Shakti could rebuild anew. So we are in these tumultuous times, and we see the feminine energy rising and the masculine energy doing everything it can to keep it in place. No, you're not. We're going to go back and forth, but and here we are. And here we are finding those little nuggets of beauty and peace in between the breaths. That leads us into this fifth dimensional reality. And another thing the group says, I'd be really interested to get your opinion on this. And it's perfectly fine to disagree with the group, by the way. But one of the things they talk about with this is literally that as we rise, we're moving into this fifth dimensional reality. It's not a trigger where all of a sudden we're here. We're moving right now. In fact, we're anchoring with other pieces of it. And the more that we can anchor, the better we can bring everything up. But all this stuff that's taking place on our planet, that's in the third dimension. It doesn't actually exist up here. And that is really encouraging. I can't, that makes me want to move right away. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that level of explanation is a very high level, and it helps remind us that we don't live in a random world.
Right.
And hopefully we don't pray to a malevolent God, and that we're aligning ourselves with our God. We are God. We each and every one of us is God. And in that elevation, it's that collective elevation that we're returning to unity and oneness. That is fifth dimension. That is fifth dimension on the planet. Anyway, I'm not completely sure what, happens as we move out of body. But this is the highest level of consciousness that we were able to sustain while still in a body on Earth. And what's important about that is that prior to this, it's not only that our level of consciousness was maybe a prior version of who we once were, but the physicality of our bodies were not able to carry that level of octane of love and light all the way down to the DNA and our organs and our meridians and our whole physicality. In 5D, which I think is a little ironic almost, because we've spent so much time in fourth dimension in the 80s, 90s, and leading up to the 2012 ascension, where we immersed ourselves in elevating our spiritual, and that was what allowed that bridge of 4D to become our vibrational backs for many third dimensional levels of consciousness, people here on the planet, to sort of travel over on that 4D bridge, which is a temporary dimension, and move more comfortably little by little in the gradations, as you're saying about the group, for us to be able to wake up and not romanticize the awakening period, because when you're awake, you're looking at things directly and head on. That's why the whole 3D world right now is so mind blowing, because we're so friggin' up and we're looking at this, and our brain cannot wrap itself around what is happening because of the level of awakenedness that we are. We're not running to our go-tos, to our dumbing down, to our addictions the same way, to all the distractions. We're looking at this head on, and it's in a lot of ways that it's worse because it's moving up to transmute out. So yes, there are gradations of this. And what I'm finding in 4D, we were really energetically called to elevate our spiritual body. But in 5D, the new sheriff in town is your physicality. the physicality is everything because there's no more difference between the transcendental and the mundane. Letting go of duality. So the things that kept us on either side of the fence, even if we consciously put them in categories of good and bad, but light and dark, it's the flip sides of the same coin. God's in everything, you know.
Right.
The masculine and feminine. Guess what? We're coming together, and it's moving into the divine human. You know, the whole concept of the divine and the spiritual, or channeling, or just the mundane conversation. Those things are merging into one as we move more into our bigger states of unity. So in fifth dimension, we have to make these shifts incrementally because every part of us has to catch up with the heart. The heart has been there. Our hearts are there in terms of understanding the higher consciousness and carrying the love and light. But our physicality on the planet needs that time in those gradations, those levels,
Right.
to expand and catch up to be able to be the vehicle and the container to carry the divine feminine and the flow and the light and the God. And our physicality's actually awakening now the divine masculine. The divine feminine is the intuition and the flow of the love and light. The divine masculine is becoming the container and the new, if there is a doer, the new way of doing on the planet. And that leads into a whole host of different changes in how we perceive, how we love, how we understand our functioning as a divine human here on the planet. And all our survival issues are now coming to the surface. And one of the most important ones that are coming up, and it's going to come up with a vengeance, is our relationship to what we have come to understand in 3D and 4D as money.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, well, we've talked a little bit about that before. I'd love to go into the books, and I know you have a new one coming. I'm going to ask you about that in a minute. But one thing we missed last time we were talking is I never really asked you how you got started. Like I said, I've known you for many years. How did you get started in this energy? What drew you into writing these books, into doing this teaching, into seeing the things the way that you're seeing? And I mean, a lot of people see it this way. A lot of people have these gifts, but very few people actually step into the work like you did and write the books and step out and do the stuff. What happened? How did this take place with you?
Well, I think if you really uh, go back to my college days, my degrees are in psychology and special education, so I was always pulled to the helping field, and I went on for my master's in social work, and was sort of bumbling through, and I stumbled across somebody. It was just a article in the a local newspaper. I'm from New York. I'm still in New York City, and it talked about this psychic woman who does readings and classes in New York. And I was like, I ripped the article out and literally I put it in a wallet. And that wallet went to the back of a drawer. I had absolutely zero money at the time. I was living hand to mouth on a school, just trying to get through life. And it literally was about a year and a half later, I saw that wallet. My first thought was, oh, maybe I have a couple of dollars I left in it. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
But look at this. God does love me, Uh, God is good. And over the wall, the only thing is, it's this 2-year-old ripped out paper from a nickel. And I was like, oh, geez, that was my first reaction. And it had, a woman's name, and her name was Nancy Rosanoff, and she was teaching in the city. And at the time, it was interesting. It was around my birthday. Today's my birthday. Which means
Happy birthday. Amazing.
And I said, I had a little extra money, a couple of gifts, and I said, I'm going to get a reading. And I went to get a reading, and she said, you're going to be doing a lot of interesting work. I teach classes on the chakras, never heard of it before. I started studying with her, and I studied with her for 5 years, and I started blending my therapy practice with my reading tarot cards for my clients. I'm into
Awesome.
readings because I found I had at 10 o'clock, I had a psychotherapy client. And then at 1 o'clock, I had a tarot reading. And then wait, 3 o'clock, I had a chakra reading. And then I was like, what? And it all just like, I was like, I give up. I cannot, because I was doing therapy during the chakra readings. I was reading the chakras during the therapy, and it all just blended together. And I coined chakracology. And that was my practice in New York. I was a chakracologist, and
Oh, it's
I just
hilarious.
put one foot in front of the other. And then I found feng shui, which my first two books were on feng shui design. And I studied with the headmaster from China for 25 years with an interpreter. He spoke no
Wait,
English,
now,
but
wait. You studied with him for 25 years here
yes,
in New York?
yeah, yes.
Wow.
He brought feng shui. No, I studied all over the country. He was
Oh,
based
okay.
in New York, and yeah, but
Amazing.
he came here from I think Taipei and Hong Kong, and he came to bring feng shui to the States. He was the first person to bring it to the States in the early 80s. And I was one of the first, I'd say the first 20 people of experts in the country for 15, 20 years on the spirituality of feng shui design, health and feng shui. And it just, that was my main work up until the early 2000 when I found your newsletter. So when you ask me how I got started, Steve, I always blame you. I blame you for the weirdness. And
Well,
Barbara,
well, I don't know. It sounds like you had a pretty good start there to begin with, but that's amazing.
I had good people, and I began with Twitter and studying. And you, to me, was the first real voice, you and Barbara, authority on 5D. I was like, "Well, what? 3D, 5D? And my training, if you ask me in terms of what I'm doing, all my roots, all my, my grounding is with you and Barbara and all those years from 2000 on. So here I am, what, 20, 25, 26. You've been that main teacher for me, and that
Oh,
unlike the work I did. Oh, Steve, my soul has been nothing but honored being able to even call you my
thank you.
teacher and my friend. Just hear
You're
that. I'm
you're
not
touching
being
me again.
meaning that from my heart. What you've done, not only for me and all the people I've been able to work with, but what you've done for the world, because what the gift you bring, is that you put very day to day, normal, average couple, you and Barbara, face on this great, great 5D dimensional stuff. And it was such a trusting, safe relationship to step into that was bringing in a concept that was foreign to so many around the world. So you are
Oh,
at
that's
the core of this, and even this decline in 5D with 3D dissolving, you and Barbara had quite a hand in creating the demise of 3D, you know,
I think we're going to take responsibility for that.
take responsibility because in elevating everybody's consciousness, you brought a
Oh, thank
collective
you.
around the world together in a way that it was palpable and that it was understandable and it was so grounding and it was always based in love and light, you and the group and Barbara. So
Thank
here
you.
I am, and one thing led to another. And yes, since about 2000, I've been doing this 5D work. Very different
Awesome.
today, 26 years later, but absolutely. My roots are with you. My
It's
heart
well,
and
it's
soul is.
well, and we actually adopted you as one of our children at one point. So yeah, yeah, absolutely. We've seen you around here. That there are sometimes, we get to meet a lot of people, Andy, and we've seen a lot of people in different places and so forth. But there are sometimes that we meet people, and it's not like, "Hi, how are you? It's good to meet you." It's like it's good to see you again. We finally get to meet you again. It's like we a family coming back together And we hear this all the time in our seminars that not just us, but people meet in our seminars and they walk off and do something together and change their lives in different ways too. So we've been very, very blessed. I've been very blessed to be able to do that. I I pride myself on practical magic. You're right, exactly that. It's got to fit in my world.
Yeah.
Exactly. But it's worked out really well for me. So tell me, how do you work with people? What do you do private sessions? I know we're going to talk about your book in a minute, but tell me about what you offer. I'm going to
Private
bring up your
sessions.
website.
Yeah, I'm in private practice with individuals. I work with them privately in hourly sessions and do readings and ongoing work. And I also currently, I'm doing a series called Go Crazy or Go Quantum. And this is our options now. We either are going to go insane or we're going to start resonating to the quantum field so we can elevate ourselves a little bit above the fray. And I run then groups that they're closed groups that run every 3 weeks of a set group of people that we get to work together. And then I do every couple of months classes, and I'm currently writing, as I said, the book number 4 on money.
This is exciting. Okay, well, I'm going to hold up this book to start with because this is your most recent book that you published.
Correct.
And it's all about the 5D human. It's all about what you were talking about. It was all about different aspects of this. And I believe this was actually just coming out the last time we did an interview with you for some time ago. So this is awesome. And this is available Amazon along with all your other books because you have quite a few.
Yeah, that's my third.
Tell us about the next. This is exciting to me. Tell me about the next one.
Okay. I'm excited about it too. So right after this book came out, it was actually July 7th, 2023, and the numbers were 777. Right? Yes. So I thought, oh, that's interesting. And I was walking on the beach and I heard teach a class on 777. And I said, okay, fine, So I started preparing for it. And then I thought, fine, every time I thought 777, I sort of slot machine.
I was going to say, I live in Vegas. 777 is it.
Like, come on, something a little more deeper, something a little more evolved, I got priests here, and I'm like, this is not good, But anyway, it became the flyer for the class, and I thought it was going to be, again, one class on money and the spirituality of money. And what transpired is over the last 2 years, from 777 to 888, which was 2024, I taught about 13 classes, and every single one of them was on a different element of money and money here on the planet. And I'm sure those listening, or maybe even you, Steve, why I'm not using prosperity or abundance. And I'm very clear on this, that the things that get in our way, fear, all the human stuff, concern, even the survival skills, the basic, the rents, the this, the that, the job change. When we got rooted in the things that were our first incarnation here of 3D and 4D in this lifetime, our exposure to the economic system that was around us, that thought form, that belief system, was all around the word money. We did not have in our vocabulary growing up, and I say this for myself, that my family didn't talk about abundance problems or prosperity problems. It was money issues. And that word comes heavily loaded with a lot of belief systems and a lot of emotional fears. So if you want to bypass that, I think it'll give you a little juice for a little while, but not much, because in 5D, we are not learning anything new. We are unlearning old constructs, old belief systems. We're transmuting them and then besides transmuting the frequency that they carry, we're also transmuting the belief systems that we still keep as our operating lenses and how we relate, see the movie out in the world. So you can
Yeah.
pray this way, you can meditate this way, you can do all those tricks. But if you are not dealing with the core belief systems that is sticking like white on rice, you're going to be in that continual loop of pulling back to you because your vibration is getting more and more expansive in 5D. So even if there is a couple of cells left in the petri dish of our 3D lives and experiences and belief systems, it's amplified in 5D. We don't get that. It doesn't get smaller. Everything gets bigger when you grow. So what you find, and I don't know if this is your experience, but over the years, the people that are my clients that are struggling most with money and money related issues or money related fears, real or perceived, are the more spiritually evolved, the creatives, those who are on the planet holding an incredible vibration of love and light, but they're tripping over this whole thing of money because I think in part, we've been taught to circumvent those negative thoughts and thinking. And I don't think that's how energy, you can't annihilate energy. You could only transmute it and you could only meet it. There's really nothing broken. It's what I'm seeing, that loop of us pushing down so suppressed our fears, our worries, other people's fears, our family, our lineage, our ancestors' fears about survival and money, that now that we've moved out of a paradigm of survival, because 5D, we don't know survival. There's not survival in 5D, but money was a part of the survival programming of 3D and 4D. So this is sort of one of the last pieces for us to transmute out that's holding us down on a base chakra level and keeping us really spinning in fear. So the book is about talking to the subconscious mind about the programming around money and working with the frequency, because what I do know is true is that frequency creates biology now.
Yeah.
And biology, we're no longer separate emotional, spiritual,
Correct.
biology, everything is resonating together. So you clear that and you clear your biology, which just opens up the field for you to just resonate love and light. And that in turn starts putting you in the divine flow. There's really nothing much we have to do anymore. It's not what you do in 5D, it's what you vibrate to, as you know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's that. Excuse me. That's exactly what the group has been saying. You're you're validating everything a group says from a different perspective. So we're obviously on the same channel. Yeah. Basically, the thing they keep talking about is you're absolutely right. We don't need to learn new things to do. We gave a whole year in Lightmaster on 5-dimensional tools, but they were basically basic tools that existed in 3D that we're learning how to, first of all, let go of, because we grasp everything so tight we can't move to 5D until we let go of some of this 3D stuff. And money is huge because so much motivation has been around money built. I mean, growing up in the United States, especially, and it's the only place I grew up, so I can't compare it. But yeah, but basically, you grow up with that understanding that this is a level of success measured by money, and that's totally that couldn't be further from the truth. But we have to beat our head against the wall a few times before we figure it out. Sometimes. Yeah, this is amazing. Where are you with the book? What does it look like you're going to release it?
I'm hoping for the beginning of 2026. So if anybody is interested being on the VIP list, because I will be sending out at least a free first chapter to everybody. All they have to do is get on my mailing list and say, whenever this hits, send me that free first chapter on my website, and they'll be on board with that. But I think listening to you, I feel I feel validated. You're saying I validate what the group says. If you could see my physicality, I was like, I nearly up about 6 feet. I was like, I validate the group. No, the group is validating me right now.
Well,
Thank you. You are too.
yeah, but you see, this is perfect because the group has been talking about 5D for a long time, but they don't go into the details that you have gone into. They don't go into some of the practical things even that you put in this book. So this is perfect because I love to trigger people, but I really love to see what ends up happening. And you have done some amazing things here, my friend.
I
You've
appreciate
you've touched a lot of people on this planet, and that's well done. Absolutely well done. Good,
it. Thank you.
good. So,
You know, one last thing I want
give
to
us,
say about money.
sure.
Go ahead, sorry. Yep.
No, I was just going to say, give us the name of your website again and so forth, and how
Yeah,
people can
sure.
reach you.
Sure. But the money piece is so near to me because I know I go through my own struggles. You know, I'm the rat and the laboratory. You know what I mean? You know,
I do know what you mean.
you know. Yeah. So I'm not above this. I haven't had this completely resolved. I'm hoping to be a few steps ahead of everybody in this, not to be ahead of the pack, but so I can turn around and cast the baton on and make it a little easier. That's the only motivation I have to run a little quicker. But the thing of money is, there's a basic concept here that I really, even before people get the read about it or find interest in it, we've learned money in a matrix of 3D and 4D, and that was based on cause and effect. That was the premise. And cause and effect says if you are good at what you do, you work at this particular job, you'll make money. If you go to school, you'll get a good job. If you come from a good family, your family will support you. We
Right.
have this premise of cause and effect ingrained, and we think that our money has to come from what we do. And it is a very big 5D, it's a myth. In 5D, your money comes from being aligned with the new frequency of the flow. Sometimes it overlaps. Yes, do I do this work for a living, Steve? Do you do this work for a living? Of course. But we are an anomaly. We just happen, this
Yes.
just happens to be what we're here to do. It's not necessarily how someone's money is going to come in. And when we understand that we're moving out of karmic assignments and we're moving into soul assignments, you can find yourself, your work, quote unquote, and your purpose, quote unquote, here in 5D might be to do nothing. It might be to sell hot dogs on a corner. It might be to sweep the streets. It might be to do spiritual work. It doesn't matter what you do. Your vibration is your job now. You hone and upgrade the vibration. And wherever you go, you are working because it's not the old action. It's not the shingle you put out on your door or in front of your desk. Your vibration is being utilized by the greater whole, by the universe 24/7. Sometimes it's just the gentleman or the lady sitting next to you at a red light in their car. You don't know how it's going to be used to serve. Your only job now on the planet in 5D, seriously, if you want to think in terms of a job, is to creating the most coherent, fluid, open, flowing inner vibration possible. And that's it. And your job is to see what gets triggered, what comes up, what you can transmute, where those issues are, where you're going to sleep, where you're not staying awake, keeping that vibration coherent, because a clear vibration creates a clear signal. And a clear signal is helping adjust everybody that is open to resonating to that signal. And you're then the next link on the chain to what the group was saying, the different levels of coming up and waking up. Because when you wake up, it is not necessarily a day at the beach. You wake up, you have to look at your relationships. You have to look at maybe making changes. You have to look at people that are close to you. You got to look at your old to-dos and your habits. And you also have to shed your own aspects of what you identified with in your prior frequency just yesterday. Being in the now is the timeline in 5D. We are out of past, present, and future, which were the timelines in 3D and 4D. So everything is happening in a nanosecond. So you have to have all your facilities to a certain degree, emotionally, spiritually, biologically, up for these enlightened moments. And the thing that helps get us in a place of really equilibrium is the vibrational clearing and moving to something more towards unity and oneness and light. The work is not what the work once meant in 3 and 4D. It's not what you do anymore. It is what you vibrate to.
That's amazing. So you're basically adjusting your vibration to be in harmony with the flow. And that's where the money comes from. Yep.
That's it.
That's
That's
beautiful.
upon will, then it will come.
Beautiful approach. Absolutely magical. How do people reach you? Let's go over that again because we're running out of time here. But yeah, your website is Andie Santo Pietro. Did I say it right that time? I'm getting there.
You're in the vicinity.
And,
Yes, Cindy.
Sandy
You
Pietro.
spell it, don't you? You want me to spell it, don't you?
Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and spell it. I'll put it on the screen for him at the same time. You bet.
Okay, it's ANDIESANTOPIETRO.com, and there's a contact page at the top on the menu. And if you send me an email, and you'll get on my mail list, or if you're interested in private sessions or my new group coming up, which will be starting the end of October, you can hop on board. There's a couple openings, and I can keep you posted about the book and stay in touch with my dear friend Steve here.
Sounds good. We will be in touch, my friend. It's like I said, you're part of the family. So I am so honored to. It's like we go our own ways, and we reach these people over here, and you reach these people over here, and we go with our own messages, and then we come back together once in a while, just able to make sense of it. And it worked perfectly. Thank you for being here with us today. Is there any last piece that you'd like to share with everybody before we go?
I've never been more hopeful that we are going to have a 5D world here than I am today. And I'm getting clearer and clearer that every time something gets worse out there, I know there's more and more love and light on the planet, and it's pushing it up and out. So do not get caught in the limitation of this one reality. Place what you place your focus on is where we are going now. It doesn't take you out of compassion. It doesn't take you out of reason. This is a strategy to help speed up that process so that can burn off, and that more and more people can wake up, because we are flooding the planet with light and love, and we are well on our way to creating another Lemuria here on planet Earth. And I waited a very long time to feel confident enough to share that.
Awesome. That's amazing. That's amazing. Again, you've triggered into a whole bunch of things the group is talking. You know what? That just means that we have to come back and talk about Lemuria, and we will. I'll have you back again, because I do. That's what the group basically says. We're going to experience very similar to the days of Lemuria as we move into 5D. We have those open heart chakras. It's scary on one hand and exciting on the other. So awesome stuff. Andie, thanks again for being with us here.
Thank you, love. Thank you to everyone listening too. My heart to yours.
I love you, buddy. Good job. Thank you.
I love you
for being on with us.
Thank you.
Good.
You got it.
Thank you. You bet. And with that, we'll say goodbye for now. Be back in a couple of weeks with another guest for you. Check out Andie's book, 5D Human, new one coming out about money toward the first of the year. and Andie Santo Pietro. I'm close. I'm getting there. Andie Santo Pietro. Anyway, wonderful to be here with you. Check him out. He's done some incredible things, and I'll be back with you in a couple of weeks with somebody else to share a little bit about what's coming and how we're doing it one heart at a time. Aspav, everybody, just keep in mind one thing as we move into the fifth dimension, it's not a move, it's a frequency, and we can change. And the best way to do that is to reach out and hold each other's hands. Here we go. Aspav, everybody.
Spavo.